TPN at technophilespodcast.com. I'm David Geisler, and this is the Technophiles Podcast. All right, everybody, welcome to part 2 of our episode here. I'm with the regular cast, Vee Laabs, Krista-Lee Malone, and Jake Gill. My name is David Geisler, and we are back from the break. And Vee, what are we talking about?
We're talking about Mr. Scott Kelley being back on planet Earth.
Woohoo!
Terra firma. I think that's how you say it.
I'm going to miss all of his landscape tweets and Instagrams.
Oh my gosh.
I actually enjoyed those each day.
I did, and I regret not following him sooner. He actually...
You really messed it up, Vee.
I know.
It's
I
pretty
feel
embarrassing,
bad. I got on the
actually.
Scott Kelley train.
I mean, you can go back and look at his tweets.
Yeah, but it's not the same. It's not the same.
It's not gone, Vee. It's not gone.
Yeah, but I don't get to wake up and be like, oh, he took a picture of the auroras. Oh, it's so
You can start
good.
pretending.
So who's taking over the NASA Twitter account up there?
No, he has
He
his
was
own
doing it from
Twitter.
his own.
Yeah.
He was doing it
Is
from
there
his own.
anyone else that's like really big on?
Well, Chris Hetfield was doing a lot of that just before Scott.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm sure there's somebody else
All right,
up there
good,
that's
good,
going to
good,
carry
good.
on that
Someone
tradition.
will carry the torch. Excellent.
Yeah. He actually...
Well, yeah, Chris wasn't. I don't think he's going up anytime soon, but someone's up there, I'm sure. Anyway.
Yeah. Keeping
If
the
anything,
internationals...
Scott followed Chris. Anyway.
He actually did mention that he took over 1,000 photos, or tweeted 1,000 photos while he was up there.
Okay.
Wow.
Well,
Over
quick
the
math,
course-
that's 3 a day or something, right?
Yeah, over the course of a year, that's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like, man, he was on fire right
Yeah.
there.
So how long was he up there?
So how long was he up there? He was up there for a full year.
It's my co-host here tonight, Jake Gill.
Rocking it.
Doing
We're
work.
getting off track and writing us. Scott Kelley was up there for a full year. This is like the longest a United States astronaut has been up in space ever. Like for a continuous amount of time. He's been up there for like a total of 500 days in like full total space experience.
Yeah, I think he was even up there for 6 months once a year or two ago.
Yeah.
He's got 520 days in space.
So he's been up there as part of an experiment where his twin brother is going to remain on Earth, and he's going to spend a year in space, and they're going to examine how being in space for an extended amount of time will affect your body, and then have something to compare it against.
They literally have a control.
Yeah,
That is
it's
super
pretty
cool.
wicked.
I actually spoke about, it's so crazy, I did a newscast on him a year ago, and it's already been a year.
And then I actually did a follow-up about halfway through in the newscast
About how he's doing?
about the twin study. And so now this is like
And then-
the end.
and
Well,
then
I told you, this is
Yeah.
episode 289 is our follow-up episode here. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, I even did a newscast about the flowers they were growing, or the plants they were growing
The
up there.
lettuce, right?
The lettuce.
Yes,
Yeah.
I remember.
He's
They
let
made a
us-
salad.
Bottle hit you in the face, I remember.
We really like the space station on this show.
I love the International
Oh,
Space
yeah.
Oh,
Station.
man.
I'm a huge fan.
I want to go visit.
I have an app that lets you, it's like a 3-dimensional model, and you can zoom around in it and stuff like that.
Oh,
and there are
sweet.
many, if you look, you don't actually have to look that far, but there's a lot of really good, like 45, 50-minute tours of the, where,
great.
you know, different astronauts that are up there will just bring you through. There's one where a Russian guy, and it's from a few years ago, is literally like, this drawer does this. Now let's move on to the next drawer. We've got cat fights in the background here on the show tonight.
Chill out, fellas.
Cat wars. And he goes through, it's like 50 minutes, and it's just the best 50 minutes you can spend in your life.
Wow.
Learning about every single flip and flap on the inside of
Oh my
that
God,
thing.
share that to me after the show.
I will.
Thank you.
I will.
You can
Anyway,
study up for when you get up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
if I was a bit younger.
For my birthday, Mom,
International
trip to the space station.
So anyway, so now he's back, and obviously, like, what does NASA plan on doing now with him?
So while he was up there, they were trying out some different techniques to kind of address the problems that happen when you spend extended periods of time in space. Some involving bone density, muscle deterioration, atrophy.
He worked out a lot up there, but still, there's like a lot of atrophy.
It's a ridiculous amount, and it's hard to keep up with because there's no gravity, and you're constantly working against that just to move your body. But when there's absolutely nothing, it's just, it just deteriorates super duper fast. So they were doing like resistance workouts and stuff like that with elastic bands.
Yeah, I
and
saw
things like
there's
that.
like videos of him basically like lifting weights, but it's just rubber bands. He's like,
yeah.
He's like totally machoing out in that moment, but it's just rubber. It's like tons of rubber bands.
Yeah.
Those actually get really hard. I mean,
Oh,
it
sure.
doesn't look as cool as having the weights, but
I'm not saying he
wasn't
wasn't working out hard. He clearly
Right, I
was.
know.
It's just funny to see. You know, it is, of course. Anyway.
Yeah. And another thing that they were addressing that they're going to be working on a bit more is fluid shifts, which is when you're in space, since you don't need to use your legs a whole lot, the circulation and like the amount of fluids in your body just goes up.
And you actually get more blood in your head, and your vision changes.
Your vision changes and your face gets puffy. That's what happens. Like you can see pictures of astronauts when like their portrait before they go to space, and then while they're in the International Space Station, and their cheeks are all like
Whenever
big.
or even when you see these videos of them up there, they always kind of have that little bit of that underwater look on their face.
Yeah.
Part of that is there isn't gravity pulling their face down. All of us have a little bit of that.
Yeah.
Sure.
And there's more liquid in their face.
Yeah.
I never.
More blood up there.
It makes total
It
sense
balances.
now that you've
the
said
blood
it.
balances.
Yeah.
But I never thought of it.
Yeah.
Like that never occurred to me. The muscles,
And
okay,
so,
but wow.
like Scott Kelley, I saw in one thing, if I may, he actually said his eyesight got better while he was up there because there was more pressure, technically more pressure pushing in the back of the eye.
Yeah, it's weird.
Crazy.
So they've been doing experiments like measuring the pressure and ways to address that. And one of the ways they address fluid shifts is that they made the Russians brought this pair of vacuum pants called Chibis.
Okay.
And so you put on these these pants, and they're big rubber pants with like an elastic band to keep everything like tight on your body, and it basically just sucks like more fluids into your legs. So there's like footage of like Kelley just sitting in these vacuum pants, just like, hey, I just have to hang out here for a while while all my fluids
While I regulate.
while I
The
redistribute.
room's getting a little blurry. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, just the term vacuum pants.
Yeah, that's what they are. They suck the fluids into your legs. That's what they do.
So are they doing any tests on him? What? This is something I haven't found, and maybe you do or don't know this. What are some of the major differences they found with his twin and him?
That's gonna be coming out in the next 6 months or so.
You know, that's true. That's a good point. As we record this, he landed like last night or the night
Yeah.
before or
Yeah.
something
It was
like
last
that.
night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they've already been talking about some of the tests they're going to be doing in order to measure what kind of effect it has on them. Naturally, they came back to Earth and they weren't great at walking. So they
Sure.
they usually
His
have
first
to be...
picture in the
Yeah.
plane, he's like very casually leaning on the staircase of the
Yeah,
plane.
yeah.
Oh, yeah,
He
no
looks
worries,
great.
no worries.
He looks great, but he's definitely leaning
Yeah.
on the stairs.
There's a great picture of him and the other astronauts like in Kazakhstan, and they're all like underneath these blankets like in this big field. I think they were like local villagers
Like,
hanging
let's
out as well.
picnic.
Yeah, and they're just hanging out. They got their blankets. They look like they're ready for a nice story, some
Sure.
warm soup.
Scott
But some of
Kelley.
these tests that they're going to be doing, the videos they have of them were recorded in like the late 80s, early 90s. Like, so if you watch like the Wired video where they talk about it, it's like this woman with giant hair going through what are like their kind of mobility tests where, you know, it's like dog shows where you go in between the posts and you make sharp corners. And you have to duck, or like you have to pick things up or play what is it, like connection or whatever it is, where you put the shapes in the slots.
Okay. They're gonna. Yeah.
Yeah,
I see where you're going with
it's
this.
all dexterity and like how fast you can solve things, and so he's going to be doing a lot of that, and then probably like measuring blood pressure and like cells and stuff, comparing it to his brother and things like that.
And that'll be happening. So they've got a whole battery of tests lined up for next couple
Like
months. 6
yeah,
months.
6 months is what NASA says is about how long it's going to take. Like already they've noticed like he's a couple of inches taller than his brother.
Whoa.
Isn't he like technically younger as well?
Yes,
Well,
he is.
yeah.
I remember that from my newscast. He's technically the younger twin.
But it's not that he grew, it's that his spinal like discs
Right.
separated.
Yeah.
Well,
Sure.
Yeah.
they're not pushed. They're not
pushing
constantly
together.
being squished down.
So he's
they
just-
naturally the
Just
pressure.
kind of fall away from each other. Yeah, and I think, what was it? I think he might have lost a bit of weight while up in space, but you're on a space diet, so that's kind of to be expected.
Sure.
And you're working
No, they
out.
pig out up there, I think. I'm just joking.
Yeah, all those SpaceX, like, snacks they send up
They're
there.
like, this brownie costs
Just-
$200 to get up here.
One of these Cheez-Its costs $1,000.
So good. Like they are the elite. They are the elite, guys.
This is the only way.
$350 for sushi, please.
Yeah.
$250 for sushi. I think the quick math, I could be wrong, maybe you guys know, I think it's $10,000 for every pound, right? Or is it $1,000 for every pound? That's like the quick math of bringing something up into space.
I'm going to say it was 10,000 because
Yeah.
1,000
Okay,
honestly sounds too cheap.
Right, I think it's 10,000 a pound, and so literally they want the astronauts, if they lose 5 pounds, like, before, the week before, if they can lose 5 pounds, it's $50,000 of money that they can put somewhere else.
Whoa.
I didn't even think about it that way.
That's gnarly.
Cool.
It is
like-
kind of
it's
cool.
like-
The crazy things that come up in space, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Oh
this
my gosh.
fluid shifting, that's really interesting because, like Krista-Lee was saying, like I thought about a bunch of other things that would happen, but like eyesight better, all these kinds of shifting things, like
Yeah.
holy cow.
Well, another quick math little tidbit is that we basically have like 2 baby elephants worth of air pressure on us or whatever, and we are basically balloons. And if you get up out of that balloon's going to expand.
Yeah.
And what I mean is every little part of us. Not that we're going to pop or anything like that, but
Right.
of course these little discs that have a certain amount of moisture, a certain amount of elasticity, will expand when they don't have 2 baby elephants on them. You know what I mean? That's like, and in every way that's going to happen.
I like your analogy. 2 baby elephants.
So, how many of you guys would spend a year in space?
I would.
I'd do it. It'd
Maybe
be
not a
weird
year,
coming
but you
back,
wanna go.
though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's been a year too. Why not?
I
They
mean,
were-
like, they're already, like, NASA's being pretty big about it, but they're already starting to recruit more astronauts to send up there.
Yeah.
Like, I talked about this, like, a few months ago, but they're really,
when
like,
NASA was hiring.
they've, like, bumped up the PR. They're, like, tweeting it out and doing fun videos, and other news stations are reporting
Right.
on it and stuff.
Well, when the shuttle program ended, it to the public it felt like it got canceled abruptly, but actually I've since learned that they were going to cancel it even earlier, and they said, well, let's a little bit like a book series or a movie series. They're like, let's put it in the budget for like 2 more years. We know that you can last a year. We'll end it right. We'll make these missions matter. All that kind of stuff. It wasn't actually that abrupt,
Right.
and they knew that by the time the shuttle program was done, that they could see that companies like SpaceX and Boeing were starting to kind of take over this microgravity orbiting stuff. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And so it was really sad to a lot of people when they were like, oh no, the shuttle program's down, NASA's not doing anything anymore. Not true at all.
Right.
They're
Right.
basically just like, oh, yeah, cool, Mars.
Yeah.
And so actually this has helped them, companies like SpaceX and Boeing have helped them focus to the point where they can even start hiring even more people and stuff. So NASA's
Exactly.
on a roll. It's great.
And this was all a part of that because
Absolutely.
if so now I read this a little while ago. I'm not sure if it's changed, but the last time I was reading up, it right now would take 2 years at the fastest to get to Mars.
that sounds
That's
about
just
right. I
just
heard-
to get there.
Yeah, I heard
No,
about
I think
2
it's
or 3
6
years.
months.
Oh,
I think at the best moment it's 6. If the orbits,
yeah,
but maybe
yeah.
they only line up every 2. I don't know what it is, but I think it's 6 months at the closest.
Did you see that like hypothetical thing? Now we're just way off topic, but
It's okay.
like
We've got a
someone
few
was
minutes.
talking about like launching a sail, basically like a small orbital craft with the sail
Solar
on it,
sail
and then
thing?
you use a laser, and they're like,
I did
if
see
we can
that.
do it right, it's like 30 minutes.
Yeah. So
But it's obviously like
Right.
not
so you basically
transporting a bunch of stuff here,
Yeah.
but
you use a light energy sail, which they've already like have plans. You can already conceivably use that stuff to use like the light energy that comes off the sun to use sails to push things out further.
Yep.
There's a lot of plans for that kind of stuff. But you're right. What they were
this
saying
one
is
was even more forced.
aim it at Mars, shoot it with a laser. So basically, it's like take a sailboat, put it in a play pool, shoot it with a super soaker, and that's what we can
Just
do.
go.
And it just goes.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the exact speed because I think that some of that math and science and stuff was questionable. but,
Right.
like significantly quicker.
I could be so wrong, but I really think the closest Mars is 6 months, but maybe most of the time it's a couple years.
I'm
I've heard-
checking right now.
Please do.
In one of the videos I saw, the woman said 6 months, but it can be anywhere from like 2 to 3 years. I guess,
Every
I
once in a
suppose.
while it's 6 months. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
So he's been up there for a year in microgravity.
Yeah.
And a lot was learned.
He's back now.
Well, they've done about 400 experiments in his year, or 400 experiments in a year's time. So that's like the Space Cup the zero gravity cup. Like they drank out of pouches. They figured out how to do that. Also growing plants in space.
Yeah.
Brewing the bourbon.
Oh, the bourbon thing. We talked about that too. Yeah.
That happened.
Did Tony bring that story? I can't remember.
That was me.
That was you.
That was me.
A lot of weird stuff.
Yeah. So now it's just a matter of, recording, like doing all these health checks and stacking it all up against his brother. And,
yeah, you're absolutely right. This is not a two-way street, but there are two aspects to this. It's how long can someone live in space, and how long does it take for them to adjust once they get back into a
Yes.
Because you can't just have, let's just kind of go extreme here.
Yeah.
You can't have 10 astronauts fly over to Mars and get there and just like lay there for 3 days while they recover.
They gotta be moving.
Well, I mean, maybe you could. You have to have like a dome that they can live in for a while, but that's part of it.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So just to update, you were right. It is 6 months. On average, because then it depends on how far apart they are. And just as a fun fact, in 2003, Mars was at its closest to Earth that it has been in 60,000 years.
Okay.
And the planets, in theory, would be the closest to each other when Mars is at its closest point to the sun and Earth is at its farthest, but this has not happened in recorded history.
Whoa.
So because of the orbits, it's not like there's a, every 6 months we'll just schedule it so that we're at the closest point or whatever. We're talking about, massive thousands of years time frame.
That's wild.
Right. But even so, I was wrong. It's not 2 years. It's average 6 months depending on the distance. But even so, if you think about that, so Scott Kelley does a year in space.
Yeah.
That's essentially just the trip there and back.
There and back without
That's like
touching
worst
down
case
and
scenario.
right back up.
Right.
Yep.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah,
So-
that could even be a there with an orbit and back, okay, maybe we kind of know we can do that. I mean, we know a human can do that. At least we think that so far. We obviously they test him a lot, but
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, isn't there so there has to be probably a threshold then on the human body of how long you can physically stay in space before you literally cannot come back to Earth?
I think, there has to be, yes,
Right,
absolutely.
yeah.
I wonder what that theoretical number
Where
is,
you just-
right? Just the point of no
You
return.
pass the point where your muscles won't grow back or something like that.
if we go all the way back to the 60s, it was
or your bones are super
1
fragile.
hour. They'd go up there for,
Right.
back there in the Apollo, or not even Apollo, but
Keep
Mercury.
going longer and longer, right?
Longer.
Find
Then it was
out.
days. Then
Yeah.
those guys did the 2 weeks where they just sat there in that capsule for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Now we're putting people on ISS for 2-3 months. The shuttles would sometimes... Would they be out there for a week? I think I'm not educated on that.
And you have
but
to
now
think
we go
about-
to a year. Of course, it's going to get we're going to just keep going longer and longer.
Well,
You have to
there's
think
so
about
much
the radiation too.
Yeah.
That's also
exactly.
a factor.
that's a
There's
big
so
thing.
many different
Yeah.
factors.
That's a big thing. Is that radiation that literally shoots? So there's always we seriously have weird cat wars happening on the episode tonight. I don't know what's going on. I'm so sorry. There's a whole second drama happening here.
The untold story.
The untold stories. Anyway,
that's part 4, guys. For those.
it's a documentary. It's a biopic on the cats of TPM.
Like a Ken Burns stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Does that go in the good or bad idea folder?
I think that definitely
Both,
goes in
yeah.
the good.
Yeah.
Sweet.
That goes in the good.
Copy, paste.
But yeah, so astronauts will even say when you're sleeping on the ISS, you see little sparks and speckles, and that's the radiation, micro radiation, shooting through the spaceship, shooting through your body, through your eyes, and back out. As the same way that you could throw marbles through a fence, but sometimes those marbles hit the fence.
Yeah.
So there's a certain deteriation there. There's a certain protection that has to happen.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Cool.
It's
We've spent
wild.
plenty of time. Let's get out of here.
Yeah.
I love, even the Mars Ice House thing that I did on the newscast. So ice actually is really good at blocking a lot of that radiation, apparently, which is really, really weird.
I didn't know that.
But we'll talk about that.
Gee,
at a
we should
different time.
probably keep some more of that around on our planet then.
Hey, what a concept.
I like my aerosol hairspray. That's really.
Yeah, you
You can tell. Yeah, right. All right. Anyway, let's see. We will. We're gonna go to break, and when we come back from break, we're gonna be talking all about. Oh yeah, the Google crash, the Google car crash that actually happened.
Oops.
It didn't seem like too big a deal, but it did happen, and we're. You know what? We're just gonna deal with it. We're gonna talk about
Yeah,
it.
figure it out.
That'll be after the break. So this is that'll be part 3, and while we transition to part 3, people, if they want to Twitter Vee about their thoughts on Scott Kelley being up there for a year, they can do that. Where
They
Vee?
can do that at bear_Annika.
Fantastic. If people want to pontificate about journeying to Mars and how long it might take for them to actually be at the right location. Krista-Lee, they can tweet you at...
They can tweet me at GamerAnthro.
Fantastic. And if anybody has an idea for like a really super strong laser, Jake, they can find you on Twitter at...
I'm just the idea collector. Hey, last week it was like garbages.
That's right. That was like the garbage planet or something, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, the garbage eater.
At Critical Owl. Right.
Critical Owl.
We can be
Fantastic.
critical about great ideas. Let's do it.
I'm tweeting you.
We love it when people tweet us, tweet the show at Technophiles Pod, or find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Facebook, and YouTube by searching Technophiles Podcast, or go to our actual website, technophilespodcast.com. I'll see you guys after the break, and you can always find me, David Geisler, on Twitter at Raptor Paint. See you in a bit.